about quick ratio, turns out to be 0.98. This cash ratio, 0.35. How do you feel right now about this firm's ability to meet their short-term obligations? Yeah, a little bit concerned. All right, I've got some concerns, so I'm gonna kind of dig deeper. Does that make sense to everybody? That's one of the whole points of a ratio analysis, is to bring your concerns to the surface, right? Once you identify these concerns, then you can dig deeper to see if they're really warranted, all right? One of the problems with this current ratio, looking at it and saying 1.13, is that big enough? Is that, I don't know, our long-term debt, we know is longer than a year in maturity, but our short-term debt, by definition, is gonna be due in the next year. Just within the next year, well, that's a long time.
Yeah.
It could be due tomorrow. Yeah. It could be due in 360 days. And all of that would be considered short-term. So if it's all due tomorrow, I got a problem.
Yeah.
If it's not due for a whole year, I think I got it. Does that make sense to everybody? So timing ends up to become an issue. The timing of those debt payments turns out to be an issue. It's a whole class on managing working capital. A whole entire, not class period, a whole course on your working capital. And that's Finance 383. Just managing cash, making sure those bills get paid, right? You're seeing a little tiny bit of it right now. All right, so here's some coverage ratios. And this has everything to do with our ability to manage that debt, all right, that we've got. First one's called our times interest earned. And times interest earned is just EBIT. And again, that comes off of our income statement divided by interest. And remember what EBIT is. Help me out on this again. It's sales. I'm good with that. All right. You might also have other expenses. I think if I remember right, the income statement that we were looking at did have other expenses in there. So you might have other expenses, but it's everything except for interest and tax. Very important here. Also remember that depreciation, yeah, it's an expense, but it never leaves your pocket. So keep that in mind, right? So it's not, we need to negate it if we really wanted to look at cash, right, being produced.
That's one of our formulas with the added depreciation back.
Yeah, yep, exactly. All right, so our times interest earned is EBIT over interest. All right, and when we do that, our EBIT was 1138 off of our income statement, and our interest expense was just 7, which gives us a very big number here. It's 162.57 times. Can anyone articulate what that means? Is that good, bad, what? Yeah, that's an interest expense, which was 7, versus earnings that we have after everything's been taken out but interest and tax.
That's good.
Yeah, the higher that number, the better. Because note too, that the depreciation's been subtracted out of that EBIT, and it really didn't leave our pocket. So as far as real cash flow goes, this is understating. All right, what this is telling us is for every $1 of interest that we owe, we've got 163 bucks worth of earnings that can cover the interest as well as the tax. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah, sort of.
So we should be pretty good there. Does that make sense? Because remember, we won't pay any tax if our interest eats up all 163 bucks of it, right? For every $1 of interest we have, we've got 163 bucks worth of earnings this period to cover it. And that doesn't count, you know, the tax that we'll owe, which we won't owe any if we have really big interest. Does that make sense to everyone? So the higher the better, and it looks like that's good. I'd rather know about our cash coverage though. So to me, this times interest earned is a little bit of a like so what kind of thing because that depreciation has been taken out. Right, so it doesn't really give me a real clear picture of my ability to cover the interest obligation because depreciation's been taken out and it really never left my pocket. So I don't really think this times interest earned is that great of a ratio to look at. I think this cash coverage is better. And the reason is cash coverage takes your EBIT and it adds back in that depreciation. All right, negates the issue of the depreciation. So in other words, all it does to this equation is add depreciation. And these guys cancel, we're still dividing it by interest. And so what we have left is sales minus cost of goods over interest. So basically, we take in all of our revenue, pay our cost of goods, and other expenses might be coming out too. So we got our raw materials paid, we get our electric bill paid, we get our employees paid there. All of those expenses come out. And this tells us for every dollar of interest we have, we've got $179.14 worth of actual cash flow to handle that obligation. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
All right, any questions? All right, so in other words, if we can forecast and count on these sales, and we can forecast and count on this cost of goods, I feel pretty comfortable with that debt that we owe. The obligations that we owe on the debt. I feel like our earnings, our current period earnings should be able to cover that interest. And then that basically captures all of our expenses up our income statement and leaves us with whatever's left over we have to pay in tax. If we have nothing left over, then we won't owe any tax, right? But we should be good because we got our cost of goods paid, we've got our interest paid, and it looks like we can handle our interest obligations and all of our expenses pretty easily. All right, any questions about that? All right. Here's another one. These are again turnover rates.